belief system and how we can reframe our beliefs that are holding us back. And I do have my computer here. I'm going to keep looking over here because I have notes. So just in case you're wondering why I'm looking over here, that is why. Our belief system is the foundation for our decisions and actions. It's the lens through which we see the world. And our beliefs are powerful. You know, if you have a challenge like I do, I have one with my voice, and you believe it limits you, for example, then it will, because that's what you believe. And so, whatever you whatever you believe, you think. And whatever you think, you feel. And whatever you feel, you do. And whatever you do produces results. And those results reinforce your original belief. And so if you do have this belief that, oh, my voice is always going to limit me, like I had, then it will. And for me, it did. And so if you're not happy with those results, then it's time to reevaluate your underlying belief and start reframing them. And I just want to share a quick example of how beliefs work, that circle I just explained. And so I often told myself that I'm just going to stay quiet because nobody can hear or understand me anyway. So I thought there was no point in talking, which made me feel discouraged and unheard. Those feelings led me to withdraw and stay quiet, which reinforced my belief that my voice didn't matter. So hopefully you can see that cycle on how our beliefs work. And so the first thing that you want to do to start reframing them is, one, to identify the belief. And the best way to do that is to become self-aware. And so I was starting to become aware of my thoughts and the things that were coming to mind. I was having memories of when people were condescending to me or belittling me. I would have scenarios play out in my mind that never actually happened, but I was just imagining these scenarios of being belittled and talking to in a very condescending tone. And this all made me feel like my voice didn't matter. And so I started to identify that. So now you've identified your belief, and now it's time to reflect on it. And so ask yourself, where did it come from? How did this belief originate? Normally it's in childhood, usually before the age of 7, most often. So it's a good idea to reflect back on your childhood. And so I did that, and I had always thought that it probably originated in elementary school because I felt like I had taught myself to be seen and not heard. And my sister, I have a twin sister, and she reminded me recently that our dad used to tell us all the time that we are to be seen and not heard. And sadly, I think a lot of parents do that, or at least some, and it's really unfortunate. But I didn't remember that. I blocked it out. But so now I know, okay, yeah, it started way before elementary school. But the times that I was made fun of in elementary school kind of reinforced that belief. And so I wanted to think about, well, where, let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought about, what am I afraid will happen if I speak up and fully show up in my life? And, I had this fear of being judged. I had this fear of being not good enough, or what I had to say doesn't matter or that it doesn't add enough value. And so I thought that. But then you have to really, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. I also remembered that my twin sister, obviously we were the same age. She was around me a lot. We were around each other a lot, and I relied really heavily on her to speak for me. We kind of had this unspoken code where if I started talking and someone looked at me like they didn't know what I was saying, I would look at her, or she would just know, and she would say what I just said. And so I started to rely on her to speak for me and to be my voice. And I loved it for a long time, even out in public and even into adulthood. I wanted other people to speak for me because it's really exhausting to speak loud. I have a hard time projecting my voice, so when I'm out in public, like a restaurant or something like that, it can be really challenging. And so to repeat myself because someone doesn't hear me or understand me can be really exhausting. And so I would always hope that there's someone else there that can hear me and would speak for me. And I'm realizing now how that is holding me back. In fact, last night I had a dream of a man who had a speech issue, a challenge, and I, in the dream, ended up eventually speaking for him. And he said something to the effect of, "Oh, I knew Simone was going to help me." Like, he felt so relieved. And that, I knew, was a reminder to me that I'm relying too heavily on people to speak for me, and that I have my own voice that I can use. And so it's really reflecting on whatever your limiting belief is, like where it came from, and going deeper into that. And then the next thing that you can do is challenge the belief. And so what evidence do I have where someone did value what I have to say for my particular belief? For whatever belief, is this belief universally true, or is it because I'm seeing it through my own lens? Ask yourself that question. And so for me, I started challenging the belief, and I realized that I am getting a lot of support on my TikTok videos and doing videos on TikTok, and I am getting a lot of support there, which is so nice. And it really feels like what I have to say matters. And so that's evidence to challenge it. And then when my family and friends ask me for advice, and they're genuinely interested in, like, what would you do in this scenario? What should I do? And that's another reminder that my voice does matter. I do have something valuable to say. I had a coaching client who I thought, I don't know if I'm really helping her. We had those doubts. And she ended up giving me a testimonial. She's promoting me on social media. And so clearly I'm adding value. I had a friend at Toastmasters read my book and come up to me and tell me that she loved it and that she wanted to hire me as her life coach. And so I am proving to myself that my voice does matter. So challenge the belief. And finally, you can reframe your belief. And you normally do that by repeating affirmations. And so for me, it's my voice matters. And I have something valuable to say, and I'm worthy of being heard. And so over time, you start to rewire your brain and your belief system. And then you start thinking differently and acting differently and doing differently, and you become this different person. And so I hope that was helpful. That if you have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment. I'm happy to connect with you. Until next time, many blessings.